everybody. Welcome to this live video here. Today we're gonna go through super neat, awesome little training to create, design your own sacred altar. So welcome. If you're joining me live or if you're watching the replay, let me organize this light over here. So welcome. I hope everybody's doing really great. And I couldn't think of a better day to talk about this sacred altar topic because I've been getting a lot of questions about it. And I've also gotten to really fall in love with the conversation of having a sacred altar more and more. And so I'm really excited to be here with you. As always, if you have any questions, just go ahead and send them my way. Either type them down below or email them to me, direct messaging them to me, whatever it is. But so I wanted to start by simply covering the topic of why even have a sacred altar. I know a lot of times when I've had people visit me who have seen my altar or altars, because I have many, they might be really attracted to them and they might be very curious about them and they think they're really beautiful or just really meaningful or whatever it is, but they don't even really know how to, how to start, where to start, or why. Why would they even have an altar? A lot of the things I get all the time is like, oh, you're so spiritual, I'm just not there. Or, you're so creative and I'm just not there. Or, you have all this space and I only have this tiny little place. There's all these different reasons why people won't do it. Yet every single time I have someone come to my space, they will always inevitably gravitate towards the altar to either look at it, make a comment on it, touch something, smell something. It's kind of cool to see that it has certain power and it has certain energy that is attracting people, not to mention it looks beautiful, right? And of course that sometimes is the first thing that people are attracted to. It's like, wow, that's so pretty. What is that, right? And so what I wanted to start with is to remind you that sacred altars are about creating specific energies in your environment, right? We've talked about surrounding ourselves with that which we want to live by, with that which we want to be like, right? Who we want to be. And so a lot of times we might not be living up to that in the moment because of whatever reasons, many reasons, but having an altar gives you an opportunity to reconnect with those things that you're setting yourself up for, those intentions you're setting up for yourself, to reconnect to those blessings, to those prayers, to those visions, to those feelings, to anything that it is you're trying to connect deeper with into your life, okay? And so it goes beyond just having a pretty thing. It also goes beyond following tradition of your religion, which is totally fine if that's where you're at. But it goes into developing a relationship with yourself and with those desires and those things you're wanting to bring forth in your life. That's the purpose of having an altar. And so there's many different themes and many different reasons why you might have an altar. Some people have just one, and then they have sort of all of their intentions laid on the table, so to speak. And then other people have individual altars for different reasons. I would say start with the one if this is new for you so that it's not overwhelming. And then your creativity and your inspiration will sort of kick in and take you to other ideas. But on a design level, the first thing that I noticed is that a lot of people, when they have altars or when they have homes that they've been decorating in general, is that they collect a bunch of little knickknacks and a bunch of little things that, while they might be very meaningful for you, they're not really serving the space in terms of aesthetics, proportion, whatever. Now, is that the most important thing? No, but because you guys are here on this design group, then I have a feeling you do care about aesthetics and you do care about the way it looks. And so my suggestion is that anytime we have a bunch of little things, instead of having them all scattered all over your place, that you set one space for all of them to sort of become a collection. And then that, in essence, is really what an altar is. It's a collection of meaningful things that you have that either remind you of something of the past that brings you joy or connection. Perhaps it reminds you of something that you're trying to bring through or bring forth for your future. There's many different reasons why you would have an altar. And so that collection of items is what I'm going to talk to you about, as well as the meanings and sort of the steps on where to start with that sacred altar design. Okay, so I'm just making sure here that my thing is still up and running so that I'm not talking by myself, and that is working. Okay, awesome. I've had such great calls today, by the way. Thank you if you guys are watching this and you've been on a call with me earlier, if you're a member of the Sacred Interiors Academy. Thank you so much. I've had such amazing conversations today with so many of you already, and it just pumps me up. It pumps me up because we have to keep ourselves in this vibration and surrounding ourselves in this environment of other people who empower us, who uplift us, who support us. And while we have to do that for ourselves, and we have to do that in our homes, and making sure guys, this is why I do this, making sure that our environments are supporting that which we are, even when we disconnect with the truth of who we are, even when we go downhill into the old ways of being, complaining, whining, judging, drinking too much, eating the wrong crap, all that stuff that I'm sure you guys familiarize yourselves with very well. If we keep striving to work, if we keep up, like my teacher says, if we keep up by creating these environments that support us, if we keep up by surrounding ourselves with things that support us, with people that support us, with food that supports us, everything that either has the power to uplift us, support us, or bring us down and diminish us. That is, in essence, why we work hard in this Sacred Interiors context to design your home into a sacred space from the inside out. It's just for that, so that you can keep yourself uplifted, so that you can be reminded over and over and over of your truth, of your essence, of who you are and where it is that you're going. Because where you've been is not where you want to be, right? And so that's why we do this. There's not another shallow reason for it. There just isn't. It's profound and beautiful, and I love it. Okay, so I'll start by saying, just got choked up there for a minute, that you want to choose a location for your altar that is a location where there's different school of thoughts about it. Some people want a very private area where it's kind of like their own private thing. Nobody's around it. Nobody touches it. Totally fine if that's where you're at. I love having it displayed to start with. I love starting to have that altar somewhere where everyone can see it, because it puts you out there. It keeps you responsible and accountable for those intentions you're wanting to create. And instead of being like in the closet spiritual, you're actually sharing who you really want to be with others. And it'll start really cool conversations. It'll make your children be very intrigued. Your husbands might notice, they might not, I don't know. But if they do, it could start really good conversations. I personally love having my altars on display, and it's part of the reason why I have different ones. So some of them that might be very private, like if you're doing an altar for romance or I don't know, money or something like that, then that might be different. That might be something you want to keep a little bit more intimate. But if it's a general altar, which is where I'm wanting you to start with, if this is new for you, then having it out and available is really cool. So finding a space where obviously it's not like crazy high traffic so that people are not going to be bumping into, the table or console that you choose for it. But also somewhere where people aren't just going to put all their personal stuff on. So you don't want to do it at the entryway table where everybody's going to put their purse and keys and cell phone and glasses on. You want to have it be designed only for your altar. And so think of a place that could suit that purpose. I keep moving my table and the camera moves. Sorry about that. So finding that location, super key. A table works great. It can be either a round table, it could be a long console table. I've even used like little breakfast trays, the ones that open up that you kind of take breakfast to bed for people with. I don't know what that's called. Those are great little altar trays. Little garden stools are also great for a small altar. Desks. You could also use your kitchen counter. Something I love for like small spaces, or if you want to start small, is cake stands. I actually have one here. Just having a cake stand as your surface for an altar, so you can put it on your kitchen counter. You could put it in your laundry room, maybe if you have a really cute corner that you want to create, in your bathroom, nightstand, and you could just start that small. Like, this is your altar area. And that's it. It's a cool, little neat way to have that visual of that intention you're creating, or those intentions you're creating. So I have a bunch of random things here I'm going to be showing you guys. That's why I'm sitting down low, and it's why I'm moving around, etc. So first thing, location. The second thing is your theme. Like I said, if you're starting, just make it a general thing. Make it about inspiration, make it about abundance, make it about love, make it about creativity, make it about money. Like, sort of create a cocktail of all these things you're wanting to manifest in your life. Maybe it's just peace, serenity, tranquility. Don't need to choose just one theme. It could just be a bunch of things together to start with. And I think that would be the wisest thing. And then for that, what you're going to want to do once you've had your location and your surface, right? You've chosen your surface, is start choosing the elements you want to incorporate. So that is a very personal thing. What I want to suggest that you start with are obviously things that are meaningful, and that you start playing with some of the things that you have that are a bunch of little things in terms of like aesthetics. I'll give you some suggestions for that, but start just gathering those things which bring you joy, those things which just make you feel good. It's like you just know when you hold something really pretty, like this heart crystal is one of my favorite things, and you just like want to like hold it, that's the feeling you want to have when you put things in your altar. Of course, you want to have different elements that relate to, to different things, different meanings. So some of the suggestions I can give you is having life elements, nature elements like flowers, or even better, potted plants. Some of you might have seen some of the information I've shared about flowers, which I love. I'm crazy about them, but they do carry a lot of weight in it in terms of having so many chemicals and pesticides and insecticides, and they contribute to a lot of disease in women all over the world, etc., etc. So if you do want to choose flowers, which again, I love flowers, I splurge on flowers all the time, find some that are, ethical and where they come from, that are fair trade, and that hopefully are chemical free, pesticide free, or whatnot. Grow your own flowers. If you can do that, that's amazing. But otherwise, just use potted plants, potted flowers, or greenery, right? Some of the things I use are like these plants that will even survive me, which, oh, by the way, all these plants you see behind me are actually still alive, which I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while, and I'm very proud because plants didn't usually survive me, except I've been very committed to making gardening something that actually is a part of my life. And it's just really kind of like an inner competition within myself where I'm like, okay, if I can keep kids alive, I'm pretty sure I can keep a plant alive. So I'm very happy with that achievement. That's a side note. So having a live plant or a live flower brings a lot of good energy to that sacred altar, right? Some other things, I made like a bunch of notes because there's so much. Candles, obviously candles are huge. This is one of the candle holders I use, which is like a crystal candle holder. And I like using these tea lights. A few reasons why I like tea lights. Scent-free, preferably. It's because I know that they're going to turn off eventually and not cause a fire. I'm very well known for leaving candles on longer than I should, and I'm not very proud of that. But I have caused a couple fires, so I do want to suggest that you are extra safe with your candles, because when you're, even if you don't have a practice, you might forget it, but when you're deep in this sort of blissful space of meditation, it's very easy to forget to turn the candle off. So, or blow it off. So, I don't like LED candles personally. They don't have that same sort of ritualistic feeling to it. But if that's your thing, cool. Otherwise, I love tea lights, and there's all kinds of really beautiful candle holders for them. I do have like big candles that I use sometimes too for more specific rituals, but for the altar, I think tea lights are great. They're also cost effective, and they don't have all those chemicals usually that the bigger fragrance candles do. I mean, they can have it, so do look for unscented ones, but in general, they tend to be easier to find. Other things that you want to have in your altar, that you could have in your altar, are also, like I've said before, crystals. Crystals have all kinds of different properties, healing properties, but you can also have stones from the beach, shells from the beach, different nature items that you might walk, and find. We call them treasures, and we love having those treasures, like nature item treasures, in the altars. They just sort of connect you to nature, connect you to a bigger picture. And then whatever spiritual images you also might want to have. Lately, I've been having a lot of Mother Mary images in my altar. I have this one right now. I have this one of Maria Guadalupe, which I love. I also have pictures of my guru and of my spiritual teachers. I have images of Buddha. It doesn't have to be about religion at all. Just any archetype, any inspiring figure that might have created some sort of inspiration for you, that might have sort of awakened admiration in you. That is a good image to have. And then, of course, they all have meaning, and they all have different qualities or traits of who they are that they inspire you about. That's the whole point of looking up to these spiritual teachers and spiritual masters. So if you have that based on your religion, beautiful. If you don't, anyone that is inspiring to you, anyone of quality, of caliber that is inspiring to you would be great. It could be a picture of your grandmother. It could be a picture of your husband. It could be a picture of yourself, a picture of your children. Any images that inspire you to be more, inspire you to be the best version of yourself. That's the point of having those images in your altar. Okay, what else? Also, having photos of other people in your life, like loved ones that you've lost, is also really meaningful. I have separate altars for my deceased loved ones, maybe because I have so many. So I don't keep them on my basic altar anymore, but I do have specific areas of my home where I honor them and where I connect with them. So that might be a thing for you. Maybe that's not a thing for you. Again, none of this is set in stone. It's really meant to just give you sort of some guidelines onto how I design altars, but then you do your own thing. Take what works and then leave the rest away. Poems, lyrics, spiritual scriptures, any word, any written word that inspires you is very much a part of my altar designs. So right now, some of the things I have are like these this book of Rumi poetry, just really keeping that intention of ecstatic love and of sort of that oneness, that deeper sort of loving space, compassion, etc. This is something I'm really enjoying. And so when I sit by my altar, it might be a time where I actually read some of this and connect deeper into some of what those words are about. And then I also have these blessings book from my teacher, Yogi Bhajan, the Kundalini Yoga master who brought Kundalini Yoga to America. And this just has all kinds of prayers in it. And sometimes I might just, pop in and, say a prayer for peace, or prayer for my children, a prayer for myself, whatever it might be. This is a great thing to have, just a little prayer book. It doesn't have to be this one, but if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're Catholic, or if you have no religion in particular, but you just have this spiritual sort of way of living, anything that is inspiring to you in that way works great. I do have pictures of my family in there, specifically my children. You'll see this picture in a lot of my design pictures. And then I also have a picture of us as a family with my ex-husband, and always send prayers his way and always continue that vision of my children and their parents being the best version of themselves. And then I also have so one of the things that I love working with for altars is, and I've talked about this before, is using each element as things that you are inspired by, that you love, but also things that engage different senses. So if it's tactile, like how does it feel, right? So think of it in terms of touch, smell, taste, sight, listening to whatever sounds you're being offered. Engaging a lot of you, all of you in it, is really, really meaningful way to have these altars. So for example, I have different incenses or plants or herbs that I burn. So this is Palo Santo, which I use all the time. Don't have my lighter, I suddenly want to light it up. And so it smells really good. It's usually the first thing I do when I come to my altar for whatever practice, whether it's a long practice or just a short pick-me-up. I might just light my tea light my Palo Santo, and then that's all I need. But it's really just a good sort of practice and habit to engage your sense of smell in that. And so incense or essential oils are great. I also have this little lotus mudra and lotus flower incense holder, so I'll stick an incense thing in here and light it up. And it's a great way to also add smell to the altar, and then also honor it. Use it as something that is actually worshiping your altar, right? And the meaning of it. I also use malas. You guys may have seen malas before. And these are really, really special. These are actually from India. I bought them from a really special person from our community who came from India. And then I also have, I'm mala obsessed, so I have a bunch. But this one is one that I only use in my altar. I only use it for my practice. It doesn't go anywhere. I only keep it here on my table, which is not this one, but I'm just showing you. And I hold it while I pray, or I hold it while I chant, or I hold it while I cry, whatever it is the case. It smells amazing also. I can't remember what the smell is, but it smells amazing. And then there's others that I also keep in my altar, like these. You might have seen me wear a few times, or this one, which was a gift from a friend of Mother Kuan Yin. And it's really meaningful because I might also pray with them and hold them in my heart when I do my practice. Maybe I'll just look at them, but then I also get to wear them out. And so to me, it's like I'm adorning myself as an altar, and then I'm reminded of those intentions I created in my little altar when I'm out on the street and I'm wearing my mala. Like these I wear a lot like bracelets. Like I'll just put it on and just go on about my day, and I might be driving and it'll catch my attention. And it just like is like a pull for me to come back to that way of being that I'm working towards. I hope this is making sense. I feel like sometimes I speak so fast, but I just get carried away. Another thing is sound. I've talked about this before, and this is also part of that ritual you might create. This is a crystal triangle that I use a lot for healing, sound healing sessions in my classes or whatnot. But this I like to keep in my altar too, and then you might just play for a second. You guys, I want you to know that having an altar is also a really effective thing for you to have a quick collecting of yourself, because a lot of us don't have a whole lot of time. Now, there's one way I can say that, which is that, and then there's another way where we make excuses to not get time, but that's another story and another training. However, we're all busy and we need more reminders than we get. So make your altar your quick, efficient way, and also your deep practice, but it can be a quick, efficient way to reconnect. So if you come to your altar, light your Palo Santo, light your candle, and ring your chimes, and that might be all you do, take it. Take the opportunity to just engage your senses in a different way. Take a deeper breath for a minute or 2 or 3, and then go about your day. But these are tools that are tangible and efficient for us to be able to get there, to connect there, and to live in that, right? Okay, so bells, we talked about crystals, we talked about candles, herbs, your malas, incense, pictures of your loved ones, pictures of your spiritual teachers, your spiritual guides, what else? Literature, poems. And so then I want to share with you a few tips as far as aesthetics. And actually, before I go there, the main aspect of your altar is going to be making sure that you're not doing it just for it to look pretty. And I know that I just contradicted myself a little bit, but the point with that is that your altar is going to be acting as an energy center of your home. The most important aspect of it is the intention, and then more than the intention is the daily way in which you use it. You will charge it more. You will strengthen its power of those intentions you're setting more, the more time you spend with your altar. You don't really do much if you go out and buy the prettiest things, go spend hundreds of dollars on crystals and oils and malas and beautiful Buddha images, if you don't use it. I have seen a lot of people do that, and it really makes me upset. So don't do that. Use it, even if you can't buy a single thing. Go to your printer and print a pretty picture of Buddha and just put it on a frame. I'm sure you have a frame. Go get a frame from the dollar store. I actually got these frames from the dollar store. I'm not kidding. Look how pretty they are. They look like the Vera Wang frames I have that are like $200 each from Bloomingdale's. This is from the dollar store. It totally works. And I printed this picture on my printer at home. So there's many creative ways to do it. The main idea is not that it just looks pretty. The main idea is that you use it to charge yourself, to recharge yourself. And the more energy you put into your altar, the more energy it brings you. So when you create a daily practice to spend time with it, praying, singing, maybe just reading, maybe just breathing. Maybe all you do is you turn your Palo Santo on and your candle and you ring a little bell and you just close your eyes for a minute. Whatever your practice is, maybe it's a longer meditation. Whatever your practice might be, that daily consistency is what makes it stronger and stronger and stronger. And so it comes to a place of it being almost like a power vortex in your home. And you will see really amazing things happening when you have that new habit and that new sort of activity that you engage in every single day. You will. Okay, so I just wanted to say that before I jump into aesthetics. So, aesthetics, this is fun. One of the things that I was mentioning earlier is that the biggest mistake is we have too many knickknacks. We have the cute little thing, and then we have the cute little shell. My kids are experts at like all these little things. And then we have the cute little frame. Maybe we have like a cute little other crystal, and then we have another cute little crystal, cute little butterfly. All the cute little things are great, and they're perfect for altars if they have meaning. One little trick that you can use is combining them in vignettes and making groupings of them in different surfaces. Sorry, I got a call. So like this tray that I use is one where I combine a lot of different things. So I might have this bigger item here, like this candle, and then I'll just start putting things as a little grouping. So I have my Mother Mary. This is a mala that I use to worship her, so I surround her with it, and then I just put it right on top of her. And then this beautiful gold container I use for like my celebrations, my rituals, and so I might also put it there. That little shell also goes on there, and then the one crystal goes on there. And so now I actually have a grouping of things that look as if it's one piece on the table, as opposed to it looking as if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things scattered around. This is a way to anchor all of them. The cake stands I mentioned are also great. I love putting things on cake stands. I keep them in my bathroom, even for my jewelry and my cotton, Q-tip things. So like I might put these two things together, and maybe I'll add the little frame on it. I'll do the incense as well, and then maybe I'll put the mala all around it. Okay, so look, it becomes a collection of beautiful things that actually shine together as opposed to getting lost in a big space by themselves. A good tip for creating vignettes like this is to use odd numbers. So instead of having even numbers, like 4 things, you do 3, 5, 7, etc. That's kind of a good tip design-wise in general. It changes, it's not like set in stone, but in general, it seems to work well. So that would be a suggestion. And then other really good ideas for altars is having trays or plates. I use kitchen stuff all the time for vignettes, for decorating, or for altars as well. So like cake stands, maybe some pretty china or teapots. This actually is a creamer thing, and I use it to keep my candles in. I put matches in it. I put crystals in it. I put all kinds of things in it. These I use a lot for having crystals all in one. I have them in a bunch of different sizes. And so I might use them to just like have a collection of all the random crystals. So I might just put all of them into one. So that way they're not all scattered. It's like a collection of them, and then I have access to them. They look beautiful. They create more proportion with the surface that I might be using. And then, they're actually shining and getting the attention that they need, as opposed to just being sort of like lost in the middle of a big clutter of things. So that's another way And then the same with these. So instead of having all the crystal sticks scattered, I just create like a grouping of them with some pretty ribbon. And then they make more of a statement. So that's kind of just like a visual suggestion. And then you want to have some pieces that are big, that are larger, because again, collecting too many of the little things is cute, but they don't really make a statement. So using like bigger vases or bigger pot containers, or using bigger items in general, a bigger plant, a taller plant, maybe a taller candle, that kind of a thing, so that you create more balance in size, having some small pieces, some medium pieces, and some large pieces to anchor it in. As a rule of thumb, you want to start with the bigger pieces first and then add in your smaller. So maybe your bigger pieces are the trays I was mentioning, and then you sort of cover your surface with that, and then you start adding your knickknacks and your meaningful things to it. And that's how you create that altar that you want to bless every day, and that what you want to hopefully hang out with and spend time with every single day, to charge it with your intention, to charge it with your power, and to come back to alignment to the truth and the beauty that you are. So I hope that this was helpful, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you feel inspired, go ahead and share some pictures of your altars, whether you've created one already or if you're just gonna do one. Share them with me. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see what you guys do, what you guys create. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I'm gonna go back and put all my things in place and reorganize my altar. And I will see you ladies very soon. Take care. Sat Nam.